So they have arrested one of the founders of Tornado Cash, and they are seeking the other one. I didn't. So they're named Roman Storm and Roman Semenov. So a lot of people are shortening it to the arrest of Storm, and I'm like, Storm? What does that have to do with? Are they like simplifying Tornado Cash? It's the guy's name. So if anyone else had that same confusion as I did, so this basically is an escalation to what was happening last year? Yeah. Where they're basically just directly accusing them of facilitating the abuse of this system that North Korean hackers did. It's tough because some people are interpreting this to say, yeah, they're right about this. You know, they took specific steps in order to support it. Da 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 da. They knew what they were doing. You know, they were helping this process happen, helping the laundering of $600 million happen, etc. But it's long been the case that writing code is not criminal activity. Or rather, that if someone uses code you've written to conduct criminal activity, you can't be held accountable for that.
Right. Most people would say that code is speech.
Well, code is speech, yes. And that's definitely the case. Code is either speech or it's money, one way or the other, kind of thing. And those are definitely protected. It seems like they're very much Treasury is kind of twisting the interpretation of things in order to try to claim that they're doing something active. Like let me see if I have the list here. They paid for web hosting services and they paid for a software repository.
No.
Before it was released, they had complete control of the Tornado Cash smart contracts. So honestly, this is built on really shaky ground here. Like the fact that they had to kind of specify that before a certain date they had complete control. What that means is it's just like before you release software, you have complete control over it, especially if it's open source software and you're going to let other people have contributions into it afterwards. You give up some of that complete control, but while you're developing it, you have complete control. So the implication of this, if they're found guilty, is that if someone else abuses the software that you release, because you at some point marketed it and hosted it and had control over it while you were writing, that you can be held liable for that. And I
Terrifying.
really don't see that happening. Like that's way out, way beyond the pale. And they specifically even say, this is according to the 2019 FinCEN virtual currency guidance, an anonymizing software provider is not a money transmitter. And being a money transmitter, the act of being a money transmitter is what's key here. And they never were. They supplied the tools, and it specifically says the suppliers of tools are not the same thing. They're not money transmitters. So they're very much kind of stretching stuff to try to pretend like this is something real that really isn't, honestly. And the community's obviously quite upset about it. We've got Coin Center over here sharing their take. We'll have that in the show notes. It's a great rundown. Ryan C. Adams really just takes them, to task. Like this is scary. Like, okay, so if illegal activity happens over the web, why aren't they arresting Sir Tim Berners-Lee? Or the makers of HTTPS that made it secure?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
We'll see how this plays out. I hope that the courts take a really honest, deep understanding as best as they can of things, and don't just treat this as like, well, this is causing the state to lose power, so panic and do whatever you can to fight it. Because that's kind of the way people are seeing it. That this is kind of summarized in Ryan Adams' tweet here. They will not permit an HTTPS for money. And what's key here is privacy is normal, I think is the line that is going around the industry. And it is. It absolutely is. Just because we've kind of gotten used to in the post-Patriot Act days that they can surveil anything, and they should surveil anything, and the assumption should be that if you're doing something privately, you're breaking the law. Well, that's unconstitutional. You need to give someone the assumption of privacy, and if you see evidence that they are breaking the law, and wanting to protect their own privacy is not considered evidence of breaking the law. Legally, it's not supposed to, at least.
Right. The people that say, oh, well, I'm not doing anything illegal, so I don't care if they can tell what I'm doing. Here's the thing. That's a terrible terrible position to have, but also I don't believe you.
Yeah.
There's sometimes that I want to have a private conversation with my husband just because I need to vent about something that I don't want other people to hear. And I'll get nervous texting about it because what if that's actually not private? What if that ends up coming out and being leaked? There isn't a private way to have a conversation virtually right now. There are some attempts at it, and they often still make me nervous.
Yeah.
And so privacy is normal. Absolutely. That's Zcash's motto these days. And I think that the major danger around Tornado Cash is simply that it will make you will have to be forced to become an outlaw if you are a software developer or move somewhere that you have, to a friendly regulatory environment. And that's just really, really terrifying when it comes to the future of Web3.